everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and having an amazing week. Today we're doing another reacting to my subscribers bird cages video. I think it's part 6 now. We've had quite a few. You guys seem to really enjoy these and I really like seeing your setups, getting inspiration, all that kind of stuff. I had so many submissions for today's episode, so I've tried to include as many as possible, but there were some I just could not fit into this because it would be hours long. So I'll have all the information down below if you want to submit for the next one, and we'll just get straight back into it and see what lovely cages you've got for me to look at today. So the first submission is from Bethel Mini Horses. This is for River Song, the Keats. This is a big size cage and it's nice and raised above the floor, which I like. I have already sent this person some feedback via email. I can't remember what he said, but yeah, some of these submissions came in a little while ago because it's been a hot minute since I uploaded the last one of these. But anyway, we're doing it today. There's lots going on here, and one of the things I wanted to point out with Keats, if you don't have one, if you've never worked with them, I think I've mentioned in a few videos I've worked with like a flock of nearly 80 Keats previously, is they have a very sensitive tongue and a very sensitive beak, so they can't have a lot of kind of shredding toys like most other birds would, because it's going to damage their tongue and beak because of the way that they drink pollen and nectar. So you want to be having kind of really soft toys or grasses, kind of natural enrichment like that. You can have kind of West Coca bobs, they are a bit softer, sometimes balsa, but again you've got to be really careful with that beak. But a lot of lorikeets really enjoy noisy toys, and I can see some kind of baby toys and things in here and more plasticky ones, and for a lorikeet I think this is a good idea. For some other birds I don't always recommend plastic, but for lorikeets I think there is a need for that there, and they can enjoy the noise and the colours and playing. Of course supervised though with anything like that, because you want to be really careful. There's some ladders in here which are lots of fun. There's like a hanging ladder at the back there. I think it's made of rope, so just be careful, as we always say with any cotton rope or anything like that. Just have a look and see if your bird is actually chewing it, because we don't want that. We have got some metal bowls, which is amazing. Lots of different branches at different heights. I like the branch right at the top because that's great for sleeping. There is a bowl at the bottom. I'm not quite sure what that's for. I think a bowl on the floor possibly for feeding. There's quite a few bowls in here, to be honest, and with lorikeets you do need a bowl for kind of fruits and some veg, a bowl for nectar, and then a water bowl. So that could be why there's quite a few. Just be mindful of where they're placed as well, because lorikeets make a big mess and they like to splatter everything. Their poop is just water, so I can see there's like a plastic sheet down the back of the wall there, which is super useful. I would probably maybe take that dowel out at the back, because obviously dowels aren't great for feet and there are lots of other options. You could get like custom ones like we've had made. We don't have any dowels in our cages anymore. We have custom made long natural beach perches from the Natural Bird Product Company, so they are long. There is a need for some perches like that. But yeah, just be super mindful of some of the other bits and pieces in here, some of the things you've offered, just in case they can get their tongues caught in anything, because they are still curious, and some plastic things will have their sharp edges and things like that. And probably what I'd say is just try and mix things up a bit. You don't have to have like everything in the cage all at once. You can change things up each day and keep it really interesting. And I think I've just seen like a foraging tray at the base. I think that's really cool, so that's a really good idea. But I think there's a lot going on here, and I think this is a cool setup for a lorikeet. So you're doing an awesome job, and thank you so much for submitting. The next submission comes from Evas Flock, and this is for Castro, the green-cheeked conure, and I have to say, wow, this is a huge cage for a green-cheeked conure. What a lucky bird. This is awesome. There are so many fun things in here. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. You've got lovely textured perches, you've got platform perches, Planet Pleasures toys, you've got like a party preener perch, loads of variety to keep Castro's feet nice and exercised. You've got West Coca bobs, you've got that awesome like palm net toy in the back right, which I love. You know, all of my birds love that toy. And there's just so much great going on. We've got the cotton perch, but we've talked about that, so I'm not going to labour the point. You can see little Castro right at the back there, absolutely gorgeous. Got a ladder going down to the base. There is like a plasticky kind of toy at the front, but it looks like it's more for maybe play outside. But yeah, there's loads of amazing things going on in here. I think this is so brilliant, and such an amazing space for a green-cheeked conure. If I had any sort of criticisms, I would say you can fill the space more. Don't be afraid to fill the space. You can use more of the higher levels, more of the lower levels, and just make it really, well, even more awesome, because this is such a cool setup. If you have the opportunity to, you could use a substrate base like we talk about. You know, I cover a lot of the similar points in most of my cage reaction videos, but we do love a substrate base on this channel. As you know, I'm a brand ambassador for Easy Chick, but I don't know where you are in the world, but it's only available in the UK currently. But giving a substrate base provides birds with the opportunity to go down and forage on the floor. It's just so, it just opens up that whole part of the cage. It's so easy to keep clean if you just keep on top of it with 2 spot cleans a day and a full clean once a week. It's just awesome. So, I mean, you're already doing an amazing job with your setup. I can't see the bowl. I think there's like a metal bowl. I'm pretty sure you've got metal bowls in there. If so, awesome. But yeah, this is so cool, and there's just so much you can do with this space. So I'd love to see if you ever do kind of any rejigs with how you set things up and what Castro thinks. But you're doing such an awesome job, and there isn't really anything much to change other than to keep going. So amazing. Thank you so much for submitting. The next submission is from Matt with Choco the Cockatiel. Absolutely love Choco. If you have Twitter, his Twitter is choco_IRL. He's absolutely amazing and very funny. And also Matt has a gaming channel with his partner, which is Paw Pads Gaming. Matt, if you're watching, leave all the links. We love, you know, supporting other channels on here, which is great. So let's talk about Choco's cage. First, it's a great size. Absolutely love it. There's lots of space in there to move around and lots of opportunities for enrichment. I know a lot of the toys come from the Natural Bird Product Company, who I've mentioned already, so that's always awesome. You've got a fun little play stand at the top there. You've got a perch sticking out. I think there might be like loofah toy at the top with the crinkle paper. There's like palm netting with crinkle paper. You've got the substrate base, we love that on the channel. You've got metal bowls. There's just lots going on, lots of different perches and things, and I think this is a really cool setup. And again, like us, you do have that long perch going across, which again may be from the Natural Bird Product Company, and then a dowel at the bottom. People really demonise dowels, and I understand why, because they're not great for birds' feet. However, if all of the other perches in the cage are of different textures and widths and thicknesses and stuff, it is okay to have one dowel in there. It's not, you know, the end of the world. Your bird isn't gonna, you know, lose its feet or anything just because you use one dowel. That's fine, as long as the rest of the perches are awesome, which is what we are seeing here. So that is brilliant. And I can see you've got some floor toys as well at the base, and again, you're really using all of that space in there, which I think is brilliant. Cuttlefish there too. If I had to give some criticisms, personally I like to have the bowls higher up in the cage. I think you've got like the water at the base and then maybe the food at the top. I find that birds that usually are a bit more comfortable feeding and having drinks at the top of the cage. It's just how they feel more safe, I suppose. And also some birds, obviously not necessarily for Choco, but some birds will be nervous having stuff on top of their cages. This is something we've seen a lot with other birds. So it may be worth, you know, when Choco goes back in the cage, or if you have a bird and you've got stuff on top of the cage, just take those bits off while they're in there. Sometimes it can also promote hormonal behaviour if there's stuff on top, because it makes this kind of nesty kind of vibe. So just be really mindful and check out your bird's own kind of behaviour. But I mean, there's not really too much to say about this. It's really cool. You could fill out a bit more of the middle with a few more perches if possible. You can maybe use like a sisal rope going all the way down to help Choco kind of manoeuvre the space. But I really like this. I know you've got awesome natural toys in there, lovely natural perches, and I think you're doing such an amazing job. So thank you so much for submitting, Matt, and we love Choco on the channel. The next submission comes from Melissa, who has Berry, the green cheek conure. So I'm going to have 2 photos, Berry's cage and the kind of play area. I'm going to try and squeeze them in. Berry's play area is amazing. There's lovely natural branches. There's a lovely kind of beaded wooden sort of almost like rope swing. You've got natural toys made of like corn husk, palm leaf. Lots of lovely things on there. There is a bell on the toy. I can't remember if we've discussed this before, but I would recommend removing the bell just because birds can get their tongues caught in the little clapper. Some bells are also made out of unsafe metals. I can't obviously tell from the photo what yours is made out of. We also see a lot of hormonal behaviour when it comes to bells. So I'd recommend taking that off, but ultimately this play area looks amazing. I'll put the pictures separately, so you would have just seen the play area now, and now I'm going to move on to the cage. And again, the cage is an amazing space. It's really big for Berry, which is always great. There's like a basket on the floor for foraging, which is cool. There's a long ladder. There's natural perches. Loads of crinkle paper going on. Love that. Lots of wooden toys. You've got a seagrass mat at there. Lots and lots of fun, and of course metal bowls. We love to see the stainless steel bowls because they are a lot easier to keep clean and hygienic, which is why we really promote them. I have used plastic bowls in the past and I just find that they really harbour bacteria and have to keep scrubbing and they just go gross. So metal is the way to go, stainless steel that is. Yeah, this is a really awesome space. If we were to give some suggestions. I think you've already said that you are going to be putting some substrate in there, so we won't go over that. Just be a little bit careful about Berry potentially chewing that basket at the bottom. I think it's made out of plastic, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, just be mindful and just see if he's interested in biting it, and if it is, you have to switch it out. You could just fill out the space with more perches and just kind of use that middle space. I'm curious to see if he actually uses that ladder or not, and if he doesn't, you could maybe use like a long kind of sisal rope going down, like I said for Matt. Possibly the clips, I can't quite tell, I'm trying to zoom in on the kind of beaded swing circular thing at the front there. I think the clips might be the unsafe clips where, you know, you can kind of open them just by touching them. So I'd recommend switching those ones out just to be on the safe side. But ultimately, I think this is a really cool setup for Berry. You could even fill in, again, more toys and switch them out every day as well, which is really interesting. It's what we do with our birds. We always try and switch out our toys regularly to keep it really interesting and enriching. So you could try that too, but I think you're doing an amazing job with Berry, and lovely to hear from you, and thank you so much for submitting. The next submission is from ZooCatTraining or ZooCatPets on Instagram. And this is amazing. I'm so jealous. This is an amazing aviary inside, I believe, and it's for 1 green cheek conure and 2 cockatiels, I believe. Now, normally I would say don't house them together because conures can really bully cockatiels, as we've seen with our guys. However, this is a huge space for your birds to be in together. And I'm sure, you know, if there was any problems, you'd separate them, but, you know, they can quite happily coexist in a big space like this. So I absolutely love that. I see we've got metal bowls, and you also told me as well, so on the metal bowls on the right hand side where the cockatiels are, there's like paper coffee filters over the top, so they have to break through the coffee filters to get into their food, which I think is a great idea because, you know, even when we're feeding through bowls, we can still make it a bit harder for our birds and make it a bit more kind of foraging based and enriching. So I think that's amazing. You've got like a wooden bridge, you've got long, what I assume is sisal ropes, or a couple of bridges actually. Lots of lovely natural toys as well, lots of branches going forward. We have got bells, and again, I talk about bells all the time, but I just recommend taking them off. I just think they're too much of a risk. Some Java perches, again, metal bowls as I said, but what's really important as well is there's metal bowls on different parts of the cage, so they're not all clustered together. So if the birds did want to be separate when they're eating and drinking in this big space, they've got the opportunity to do so, which is amazing. I love that toy in the top right. It's kind of like a net with lots of goodies inside. Love that. Wish we could get that over here. So, I mean, there's not too much really to say about this. It's a really fantastic space. The one, not really criticism, more of a suggestion that I gave via DMs is with a space like this, I would personally put some sort of table in the centre of the aviary, because while it's great they can fly around, it's awesome. If you can have like a table in the centre, you can then use that space for like foot toys and, you know, typical floor toys, because birds won't necessarily go all the way down in an aviary. Some will, some won't. But if you kind of use a bit more of that space, then there's even more opportunities for enrichment and excitement. So I'd go for that. You could even put some perches on there, or just, you know, bits and pieces, a foraging tray, something like that. So you've got the scales on the floor. The scales could sit on the table too. But other than that, I mean, we're doing so well today. There's amazing, amazing setups being sent in. So thank you so much for your submission. I think this is a really awesome space, and I'm sure your birds are very happy in it. Next up, we've got a submission from Colin with Pip and Sparky, the Cockatiels. And this is such an amazing cage for Pip and Sparky. It is huge. Wow. What a space for them to enjoy. I think this is brilliant. You've got the stainless steel bowls, and they're quite high up in the cage, which is awesome. You've got some sanding perches, the ones that I use, which are the seashell perches. They're kind of kinder on your bird's feet. You've got natural perches in there. You've got like a Zoomax cardboard toy. You've got the pizza toy down there at the bottom, you've got the netted toy. There's loads going on, loads of perches, and of course the substrate base, double points for the substrate base. We've got like egg cartons down there and lots of fun floor toys, lots of amazing things for them to do down there. Now, cockatiels are natural ground feeders, so we always encourage a substrate base for them, because then, you know, they can exhibit natural behaviour by going down there and foraging. So this is such a cool space. But again, I think what I said to you is, you know, don't be afraid to add in some more. You know, where you've got the perches, obviously you want some kind of more bare spaces for when they're sleeping, but don't be afraid to, you know, fill it with some more toys. You can use bigger toys like I do. You know, we absolutely love big palm leaf toys, and our cockatiels absolutely love them too. So don't be afraid to kind of pack it in there more and just give them even more opportunities for play. And again, as I've said to other people as well, feel free to kind of switch out the toys either daily or bi-daily, or however often you want to do it, just to make it really enriching and a different space, because getting birds used to kind of different setups is really good for building confidence in birds. So this is really, really cool. I think you've got a great start here, and I'm sure the cockatiels are very, very happy in this cage. Next up, we have a submission from Charlie's Flock. We've got Lavia and Charlie the Cockatiels, and these are their cages. I've got two here. I'm going to try and fit them as best I can on the one page there. And these are amazing. They're really, really big, which I love. There's loads of natural toys in there. There are metal bowls, which we love. Loads of natural perches. I love the seagrass mat on the one there at the front. That looks like so much fun to play with. You've also got the play top. It looks like a kind of DIY play top setup, which I think is amazing. We've got Planet Pleasures toys. There is just so much going on. I see you've got some, I can't quite tell what that is at the base there, maybe paper, which is good because, again, you know, bars can be really harsh on birds' feet. So if we can put anything over there, whether that might be, you know, a foraging tray that you place in on top of the bars, or paper, or if you take them out and use substrate, that's so awesome to see. But yeah, it's really cool. I mean, again, you guys are just amazing. So many cool setups. I think probably what I would say with this, the one with the seagrass mat on could look a little bit dark with all that stuff on top there, so just be careful of hormonal behaviour, but I'm sure you're, you know, aware of the signs to look out for with that. If you're not, I've got a video on my channel. But yeah, it's really cool. I'm really enjoying seeing all of the different setups, and again, just my advice to you is to try and change things up. Maybe add bigger toys in like I do, see what they think of bigger toys, you know, kind of Planet Pleasures big ones. Mix it up each day, see what they think about new setups, new toys in different places. And again, I suppose if you wanted to give them variety, you could add in like a sisal kind of swirly perch there. But to be honest, these look like really cool setups. Yeah, I'd just be curious to see how the birds kind of maneuver getting from the top to the bottom to that ladder. Do they climb down the bars? Or, you know, do they use perches, or how do they work it out? Because if they're climbing down the bars, you could just add in like a natural sisal rope or coconut rope, hemp rope, whatever it may be, to help them get down to the floor, and that could be really interesting for them as well. But you are doing such an amazing job. You've got loads of lovely toys in there, so many opportunities for play on the play stands too. So thank you so much for sending in these photos. It looks like you've got two very happy birdies. We have a submission from Emily, and we've got Sunny and Stormy the Cockatiels. So this is their cage. This is a nice big size cage, and there's again lots of opportunities for play. I see you've got their names on the front there. Just be careful with the pegs, just in case they can get their little toes caught in there from the inside. But I really like how they've got their little name tags on. I think that's really cute. So in this cage we have got plastic bowls. Again, I'd probably recommend switching out for metal if possible, because it's just, as I said, it's easy to keep clean, it's easier for you, and it's, you know, well, when you want to make your life easier. You've got some fun little natural toys in here, sort of wicker balls and things like that. That looks really fun. So you've got some lolly sticks as well, ladder as well, and you've got paper at the base of the cage too. So that's really cool, so they can go down to the bottom and maybe play with some floor toys or have a little look around. So that's cool. You've got some natural perches too, which I love. I'll just give a couple of suggestions. I'll probably take the bells off. Again, as I said to other people, just recommend it because it's just a lot safer for your birds. But the toys that are that have the bells, you can just keep those in there and they can enjoy those. You could add some even more sort of softer shreddables like balsa wood, yucca, palm leaf, cardboard, paper, that kind of thing, to kind of switch up the toys. And again, you could try switching them up regularly as well. You could even make some DIY toys. Again, I've got videos on the channel if you want to give those a go. And the other thing as well is there is quite a big bowl of seed at the bottom, and I'd probably recommend taking out that bowl of seed and trying to transition them more onto a primarily vegetable based diet with sprouted sort of grains and legumes and things. And if you need any kind of help transitioning your birds onto the right kind of diet, or if you're just not quite sure what sort of diet they should be on, you could even check out my diet guide. Again, I've got so many links, I'm gonna have so many links in the description after this video. But yeah, if you give your birds lots and lots of seed in their cage, they're less likely to make progress in training with you because they've got those snacks there, so why should they work for them? They can have a little bit of seed. Seed isn't as bad as people make out, however it needs to be used in the right way. So I'd recommend maybe reducing that and trying to transition them onto more kind of sprouted grains, legumes, and more veggies. But I know you've got veggies in the top there. I can't quite tell what they are, but that's really great that you're offering that. But yeah, you're doing a great job so far. Thank you so much for submitting. You can see both of the cockatiels just hiding at the top there. They're absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, so thank you so much for submitting, and you're doing a great job so far. Last but one is of a lovebird, and this is their cage. I think this is a very nice size for a lovebird, and you've got lots of natural perches, you've got some flat perches in there, we've got the stainless steel bowls. I probably would put them a bit higher if possible, just because, as I said, birds feel a bit more comfortable when they're eating higher up. What have else we got here? We've got some natural toys, we've got finger traps. We love finger traps. Pretty much every single bird loves finger traps, loves shredding them. They're nice and simple and easy for them to chew. You've got this interesting beaded ladder going down. I think that might be a dowel at the back, not quite sure. Maybe some standing perches there I think we've got, and some other bits and pieces, toys. We've got a nice shreddable toy at the back right. You're doing a good job so far. My advice to you would be maybe just to add in some more toys. Be careful of that cotton rope. You could switch it out for a sisal rope if you wanted to, just see how your lovebird reacts with it when they come home. You could go for a substrate base, and again, if you can't take the tray out, if it leaves too much of a gap, you could just pop like a foraging tray at the base there and then fill it with some crinkle paper for your lovebird to go down and play in. That could be lots of fun. The other thing as well is there is like a blanket over the top and the back. I'm not sure if you're planning on covering your lovebird, but it's not something we recommend because, well, there's lots of reasons actually. If you want to know all of the reasons why we don't recommend covering, it's in my How to Give Your Bird a Good Night's Sleep video. But one of the other things is it can encourage hormonal behaviour and some undesirable behaviours. So we recommend not covering, and also some birds, as I said at the very start of the video, can be a bit kind of nervous about things being over the top of their cage. So I'd probably take that off. But yeah, you're doing a really great job so far. I really like the natural perches in there. Just don't be afraid to kind of mix things up and use bigger toys, and yeah, just see what your lovebird likes. I believe you haven't brought them home yet. Could be wrong because it's taken me a little while to get around to this video, but I'd love to know how they're getting on in the space and if you've had to change anything around, because quite often when we bring birds home, we set up a cage in a certain way and then we put our birds in there and then we realise that, oh, they're not using the space right, or that's a bit difficult. So it's always really interesting when you bring a bird home, just be really mindful about how they're using that space and if they're doing okay with it and if you need to tweak it. So you're doing a good job so far, and I would love to see what your lovebird thinks of the space, and if you've changed anything, do let me know down in the comments if you'd like to, or you can send me an email with a follow-up as well. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. And the final submission is from Lavia, who is Birdie Lovers over on Instagram. This is for a budgie. So having a look here, we've got stainless steel bowls. We love to see that. There's some natural perches in there, which is great. I think we maybe have some like lettuce or something, so lovely greens in there. Again, we like to see that. We've got, you're really using the base of this cage, which is brilliant. So there's like a paper base, lots of crinkles all over it. I really like to see that. And even with the cage as it is, you've really managed to utilize that space, which I really think is awesome. I would say with some kind of suggestions, I think there's like a little cat toy at the back there, which is made out of fabric. I'd probably take that out just in case your budgie decides to chew it, because the fibres will get stuck in their crop. And you know, the little bird thing on top of the cage, just be really careful about that, just again in case it intimidates the bird, or if there's any problems with your bird trying to chew it as well. I would also say maybe just fill out the cage a little bit more. Don't be afraid to add in some extra toys, change them around. You could even try some DIY toys, as I said before, but just really fill out that space and see next to the perches, you know, how could I implement a toy here that my budgie can really shred and chew. Some of the things that I know budgies really enjoy are the yucca, cardboard and paper. There's so many different DIY toys that you can make with cardboard and paper, which I think is really interesting. I think one of my favourite ones is paper cake cases. I made it in my last DIY toys video, and it was out of rainbow cake cases just on a bit of paper string, and that would be so easy and fun for a budgie to shred. So I think that'd be really cool. Now with cages, I always say bigger the better, but again, there are going to be some circumstances where this could just be a sleeper cage. So I obviously don't know everyone's individual personal circumstances, but I do always say bigger the better. I can't quite tell where this cage is sitting, but if it's on the floor, I'd recommend raising it up, because birds don't always like being kept on the floor. It can be a little bit scary for them. So if they're a bit higher up, maybe on like a table or something like that, that could be yeah, just might make them feel a bit safer and a bit more comfortable. But yeah, just absolutely loving that base that you've got there with all the paper and crinkles. So thank you so much for sending in your submission. We are going to leave it there for today. I'm losing my voice because I've tried to burn through these. I really enjoy seeing your submissions, guys. Thank you so much for sending them in. It's always a real treat to see your different birds and what they get up to. I know some people send me loads of photos, but really I can only put one, sometimes two on the screen. But I do like to see what's in there, and I know you guys give really detailed explanations, so thank you so much. All of the information is going to be down in the description if you want to take part in the next one. Who knows what it's going to be, because this one took me 2 months, but you know, I have good intentions to do another one. So if you really would like to see another one, let me know down in the comments that you'd like to see the next installment, which will be number 7, which is kind of wild, but I'm glad you guys are enjoying this series. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day. Take care and see you later.